Good evening, viewers, and welcome to this evening's episode on Time with your Banker and Financial Advisor. This program is sponsored by Securities and Exchange Commission, Dole Yogurt, and Paradise Water. We've been discussing Securities and Exchange Commission, the commission in general. And the last time we did that discussion, we had it with the Director General, Reverend Daniel O. Tete. He's with us this evening again to continue from where we left off. Please stay glued to your seat. We'll be right back after this break.
What a new way to cool off and quench your thirst. And now everyone is enjoying the surprising experience of Paradise Pack treated drinking water.
Hi.
Join the refreshing experience and enjoy the all-new Paradise Pack treated drinking water. Paradise Pack treated drinking water. Drink pure, live more. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back, viewers. This program is sponsored by Securities and Exchange Commission, Paradise Water, and Dole Yogurt. Hello again, and
Hello.
good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you.
The last time you were here, we had a lengthy discussion, and I think there is more to discuss. Time wasn't on our side.
Yes.
Yeah. So today, we want to continue from where we left off.
Right.
The last time we looked at commission in general, we looked at your functions, we looked at the law that backs your operations,
Right.
and you talked about the
The
market operators, and then you talk about you regulating anything related to the public sector. So we want to take another look at your regulatory objectives.
I'll pick out 4 key objectives that the efforts that we put into our work is intended to achieve. And let me start from what I believe is the best, which is ensuring investor protection. At the end of the day, whether we are coming up with regulatory framework or we are issuing guidance to the industry, we are ensuring that the market operators, our license holders, remain solvent and so on and so forth. All that we are doing, the ultimate goal or the objective is to ensure investor protection. So indeed, if you look at a lot of our, the posters and things, our logo and all of that, you find that one of the mantra that you see running across all of the things we do is ensuring investor protection. So that is a key objective because we believe that the investor needs to be protected. But then another important function or another important objective of the SEC is to see to the growth and development of the securities industry. Now, the securities industry typically is where you find long-term instruments or long-term capital. Now, for any economy to grow, you need long-term capital. And so without a vibrant, without a growing securities market, you'll find that the economy, in this case, the economy of Ghana, will not benefit from what long-term or patient capital can do for the economy. So aside ensuring investor protection, which is primary, is a fundamental objective that we seek to achieve, we must also see to it that the market is growing. So for instance, we have an equity market and we have the Ghana Stock Exchange. And we believe that we should see some more growth. We should see some more companies coming to the market to list, to increase the universe of securities on the market that is available. If we take, let's say, a unit trust or a mutual fund, which is one of the vehicles or instruments that we license, now you can have a money market mutual fund or a money market unit trust. So that unit trust or that money market will invest in the money market. So then you can put your money in and then take it in within a short term. That's why I wouldn't say that if
your money hasn't got it shouldn't come there.
Yes, but you just need to understand that really, when you talk about the securities industry, that's where we can find long-term capital, which is critical for any economy to grow and develop. So our mandate or a key objective we have is to see to it that we are growing the securities industry, especially the capital market bit of it, so that we have long-term capital coming and playing its role in economic growth and development. And we like to emphasize that as well, because many times when we talk about investor protection, people tend to think of the regulator as just holding a stick and ready to apply it, against market operators who act in ways that may not necessarily support investor protection. And so it seems as if that's all that we focus our energies on. But apart from investor protection, we also want to see the market grow and develop. We want to see more issuers coming through and so on and so forth. So that is another key objective of the SEC, to ensure that our markets are really growing. And we can say that our equity market has grown. There's still more room if you look at other markets within the sub-region. And the debt market or the bond market is picking up, even though you find that it's typically dominated by government debt issues. In other words, we are still hoping to see more corporate entities coming up to issue long-term debt instruments on our market. And then also we can talk about having or ensuring or seeing to it that we have an efficient, fair and transparent securities market. And that is also important, because when you want to give confidence to capital or to investors, both local and foreign, you want to give them the assurance that there's a level playing field. People are playing by the rules, no insider trading, things that will undermine the efficiency or fairness or transparency. You want to make sure that there are adequate disclosures. Another key objective is for the SEC is to see to it that we have a securities industry that you can say it is efficient, it is fair, and then it is transparent, because that gives confidence. Because anybody coming to a market where that the rules work, there are adequate disclosures, no
hidden information.
Exactly, it gives confidence. So that also is another objective of our activity, to ensure that when we take the Ghana, we take the securities industry in Ghana, we can say that, wow, we have a market that works, we have a market that is fair, we have a market that is efficient and that is transparent. And then the last one I want to mention is we also, through all that we do, want to have a situation where we can have well-capitalized and what I'll say compliant market operators. So we want to have a situation where our market operators, they are well capitalized, and when we talk about well capitalized, in other words, they have the adequate financial capital, they have the adequate human capital, they have the adequate technological capital to operate within this regulated space that the securities industry, and also that they are compliant with the various provisions that have been captured in the Act, as well as the other regulations that we have that governs the entire securities industry. Because it's very important to have the market operators who have what it takes to deliver and who are also compliant. So these are the four, if you like, key objectives that I want to bring out in terms of what we do at SEC, what we seek to achieve.
Your roles interlapse with that of Bank of Ghana. So why do we need your body?
That's a good question. That's a good question. And let me say that when you take the entire financial industry, there are different models that are used in different countries when it comes to regulation. So you can have a situation where there'll be one entity, one regulatory body that has oversight over the entire, financial sector. You can have a situation which is called the Twin Peaks model, where you have two major institutions, one focusing on prudential supervision, and then the other focusing on market conduct. Because those are two key planks: the conduct of the operators and also the kind of prudential requirements that operators within the financial sector are expected to observe. So we call it the Twin Peaks model. There are advantages and disadvantages.
Twin Peak model.
Twin Peaks model.
We'll come back to that so that you give us further explanation.
Okay.
Viewers will take a short break. This program is sponsored by Dole Yogurt, Paradise Water, and Securities and Exchange Commission.
What a new way to cool off and quench your thirst. And now everyone is enjoying the surprising experience of Paradise Pack treated drinking water.
Hi.
Join the refreshing experience and enjoy the all-new Paradise Pack treated drinking water. Paradise Pack treated drinking water. Drink pure, live more. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Welcome back, viewers. Securities and Exchange Commission, Dole Yogurt, and Paradise Water are my sponsors for this program. So far, we've been discussing what the Securities and Exchange Commission do, their functions, and Reverend has explained into details the four basic functions that the Securities and Exchange Commission has been doing so far. And we left off at the Twin Peak model. Can you please explain it further?
The idea of twin is that then there are two, because twins talks about, refers to two. So two regulatory bodies that focus on regulating the financial sector. So one focuses on prudential requirements, while the other focuses on market conduct requirements, But they cover the whole range, whether it's banking, insurance, securities, pensions. They cover everything. And I think one of the strong arguments for the Twin Peaks model is that it facilitates coordination, and it also, in a certain sense, excludes or avoids what people call regulatory arbitrage. What I mean by regulatory arbitrage is that where you have, let's say, let's say a bank that also has a subsidiary that may be in maybe holding one of the licenses of the SEC, and may also have a company, a subsidiary in insurance.
NIC license.
Yes.
So there will be no.
There could be
loophole.
There could be some.
There could be some
some gaps
loopholes
that can be exploited. There could be, So the one key advantage why people recommend the twin peaks model is the kind of coordination that is allowed or is fostered in that model. But as you know, every coin has got two sides. So you can always talk about the pros and the cons. And then the third model, which we are aware of, is, if you like, we call it the specialized institutions, which is what we have in Ghana. So we have Bank of Ghana focusing on the banks, and then
the money market.
Yes, yeah, exactly. The other non-bank financial institutions. Then you have the SEC focusing on the securities industry. You have the NIC, that's the National Insurance Commission, focusing on insurance. Then you have the NPRA, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, focusing on pensions. Okay, so there are specialized institutions focusing on their respective areas.
Yes. That means that these four institutions must be transparent with one another.
Yes. Actually, I can confirm that we have an MOU between the four specialized regulatory bodies within the financial sector in Ghana, and we need to strengthen it and make it work better so that we can achieve. So in view of the fact that in Ghana we do not have one entity that has oversight over the entire financial sector, what we have is this specialized approach, and that is why we have SEC, even though we have Bank of Ghana. But like I'm saying, apart from Bank of Ghana, apart from SEC, within the financial sector, you can talk about the NIC and then also the NPRA. And maybe I can even add that until we had the SEC set up fully, the Bank of Ghana even was, in a certain sense, playing some kind of role when it comes to the securities space. But it was felt that for full expression to be given to the securities industry, for more room to create growth and development, there should be
a sector for it.
Yes, a specialized entity. So that's how come we have SEC. So we complement, I would say, because we are looking at one aspect of the financial sector. And like I said, we have this MOU, and we are going to work closer together to ensure that the economy benefits from the potential of the financial sector.
But looking at it looks as if your role cuts across even all the other three sectors. Because if you regulate the public, any institution that falls within these other three sectors, the NPRA, insurance, and the banks, anytime any of them with the public attached to their name wants to source funds or anything, they must come to you.
I wouldn't put it that way. The way I put it is where any entity, whether it's a bank or an insurance company, is looking to play in the securities space, they will have to come to us. So for instance, if a bank wants to have a subsidiary or wants to get into any of the activities,
want to float shares on the market.
Yes, they have to come to SEC. If they want to get into fund management, they have to create a subsidiary that must be licensed by us. If they want to have a primary dealer license, they must come to us for the primary dealer license. If they want to function as an issuing house, they also need to come to us for a license. So to the extent that their activity can fall into the security space, then they need to come to us for a license or for a particular transaction to be approved. So like I said, if a bank wants to raise equity from either existing shareholders or an initial one to the public, it will have to come to us for the that particular invitation to the public to be approved. But their primary regulator will continue to be the Bank of Ghana or the insurance. So it's only when an activity that they want to undertake falls within
the security
space. And
they
that's
must
why,
come to you.
Yes, and that's why you need to look at what is defined as securities and also the kind of licensable activities in the Act. So that will guide you to know when to approach the SEC.
But how will you describe the current state of the securities regulatory environment? I
think it's getting better. I think it's getting better, especially with the passage of the Act 929, which is an improvement over the previous SIA PNDC Law 333. And it's giving certain, if you like, powers to the SEC as well. And what we have also recently decided to focus on, we call it EED. And let me explain what I mean by EED. E means education. The second E is enforcement.
Okay.
And then the third D is development.
Okay.
So in terms of our activities within, our mandate, we are looking at how to intensify education.
Yeah.
And the education,
I think that's the key.
Education, we are looking at it at even 3 levels. And I'm going to explain what I mean by 3 levels. We are looking at ensuring that at the commission itself, the capacity of the staff at the commission is deepened through education, because you need
people to understand what they are even doing.
Yes, because if the regulator doesn't have the capacity to, or the requisite capacity, it will limit its ability to effectively regulate the industry. The second layer of education is going to target the market operators. And the third level of education is the investing public.
Yeah.
Because again, like you alluded, people are not aware and they do not understand this whole securities industry. To them is shrouded in mystery. And we need to educate them for them to appreciate their rights, to also appreciate what realistic expectations to have when they are approaching the various market operators.
Yeah, a fund manager.
Yes, what kind of questions or what things to look out for. Basically, things that will help them to make more informed decisions. So that is the first E. And the second E is enforcement.
Okay.
So enforcement has to do with ensuring that market operators do what is required of them. They comply with the regulations that govern business or activity within the securities industry space. So when enforcement is not strong, then people get away and all kinds of things happen. So we are beginning to strengthen our capacity to ensure enforcement. When you look at the resources available, it sometimes limits what you can do. But we are taking steps to ensure that our capacity to ensure enforcement is strengthened. And I can say that people will be seeing more of the actions, the enforcement actions, and that will send a certain signal out there that
it's already been said.
Then the third one is the development. And on that, if you look at the Act 929, there are some new areas that have been brought under the Act. So what we have been working on is putting together the regulations that would support some of these new areas. So for instance, we've worked on the regulations for the Ghana Commodities Exchange and then the warehouse receipts system, which would be coming through very soon, because it's been programmed to be launched within, I believe, the next few weeks. And then we have also worked on regulations or guidelines for private funds. But yes, basically, I think that we are strengthening the regulatory framework, and we are doing all that to ensure that we deliver on our mandate of ensuring that we have a securities industry that is growing in an efficient, fair, and transparent manner, where the integrity of the market is protected, investors are also protected.
Thank you. Thank you very much for making time to come again.
You're welcome.
Since we are not done with our discussions, I will just have to plead with you so that you can squeeze another time and then come around.
Anytime,
so that
anytime.
Especially on the warehouse development structure, because this is something new on the market.
Right.
Viewers, this is where we'll end today's episode on Time with Your Banker and Financial Advisor. Sponsors are Dole Yogurt, Paradise Water, and Securities and Exchange Commission. Thanks for watching Time with Your Banker and Financial Advisor with me, your host and banker, Betty Aye.